Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to A Case of the Mondays. It is Monday, and this is the first UFO report for the week. But before you even look at the title, because I'm sure you did, because the image for this particular episode was pretty damn funny. Well, some of you might not think it's funny, but this is UFO report number 157, and it's actually the 246th episode of the podcast. So yeah, it's been some time. I've been doing this podcast now. Usually at this time of year I start thinking about whether or not the podcast will continue on for another year, but I don't know, man. The Rubber Duckies was the first time. The second year we had the Rubber Duckies, but it was a hit. People really loved it. There was a lot of voting, and I know some of you went in there multiple times. But still, it's been received well. And speaking of the Rubber Duckies, I did receive last Friday the award for the 2018 Super Sapien, which was the winner, of course, Ronnie Dawson. And what an amazing award. I posted a picture of it in UBR Truth Seekers. Tomorrow, I'll post a picture of it everywhere else. Hopefully, the other awards, including the Rubber Dicker of the Year, will be here today so that we can include all the pictures in one place at one time. Because I'm telling you, these awards are fulfilling for somebody. Yeah, I'm telling you. Take my word for it. I'm not lying to you. Well, before we get into the news article for today, I did get an email from someone asking what happened to the app. I believe if this is a real email, because all there was a subject title, there was no body to this. The app only launched on Android, and there are some people using it still, and it never made it to Apple, sadly enough. No fucks given. Apple was just too difficult and too time consuming to get that done. However, it turns out there's some new rules going into effect with the Googles and the Android space. And so some changes have to be made to the app in order to conform to the new rules, which means that in the next couple of weeks, it will be taken out of, I'm going to take it out of Google Play. It's coming off for about a period of about 2 months while we kind of fix it up and get it all pretty-like for the Googles. And then at that point, we'll make another attempt to get into the Apple Store. One more time. We will try to do it again and see what happens. No guarantees at this point because once you get in there, it's great. But trying to get in there, it's a MFer, as they say. It's hard. Anyway, let's get into what we would like to call the news for today. So check this out. I'm sure you've seen it, but there is a 2020 presidential hopeful, a candidate. And he's no ordinary candidate because he says he's been to Mars several times. And he's on a mission to bring the truth to the people of America and the world. That's right. This guy is a lawyer. He's a lawyer. And believe it or not, he actually made a bid as an independent candidate for the 2016 election. But guess what? He lost. He didn't quite make it. Now, the good thing about him is that he's got quite a history here. And he makes no bones about it. He was in Mars. But he makes other claims because they kind of call him the time-traveling candidate. He apparently, as a child in the 1960s, was part of an alleged CIA program called Project Pegasus. And I think we talked about Project Pegasus like year one of UBR UFO Buster Radio with Big O. I think Big O was the one who came across Project Pegasus. But apparently, this individual traveled through time and space as part of that project. But he didn't stop there because, you see, I guess he showed his skill, right, with the CIA. And once the CIA grabs onto someone that's got some mad skills, they keep him on the books. or under the books or in the invisible ink. So it turns out in the 1980s, he was also part of another project for the CIA, and it was called the Mars Jump Room Project. And guess what? He traveled to Mars. Now, one of the claims that he made, and it's okay. I'm going to say this, and I've heard this before, and this is why we have the image we do for this episode. But he says that the Barack Obama was also part of that project, and he came across the ex-president while he was jumping to Mars. Yep, that's what I said. Again, someone else claims Barack Obama was visiting Mars. You keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I just don't know where to go with that, but it was a cool image of Barack as the as the image for this podcast. But shit, no fucks given. It is what it is. So it turns out that he actually wrote a scientific paper, basically trying to show scientific evidence that there is, or at one time there was, life on Mars. As a matter of fact, the paper is called "The Discovery of Life on Mars." And in 2008, he says that he had evidence of mass graves on the red planet. Mass graves. He said there were an array of creatures and humanoids that were living on Mars. And he said that to the National Geographic Society. But they kind of declined his paper and his claims. And guess what they said basically was the reason why they would not accept his paper. Basically, he was experiencing pareidolia. Pareidolia strikes again. Is this guy related to Scott C. Waring? I don't know. But the candidate that we are talking about is Andrew Basiago. Andrew Basiago was a candidate in 2016 who said he was going to bring the truth to America. And in 2020, he's still going to do it. He is going to put in a presidential bid in 2020. And no fucks given, he is going to make it happen. He wants people to know that we've been to Mars. We've time traveled. We do all those things, and the CIA is aware about it. Now, if you feel like you want to be part of Andrew's entourage, or you want to support him as a candidate for 2020, and by the way, I believe he's out of Washington State, there is a website you can go to. It's called Andy 2020. ANDY 2020.net. And you can go on there, and he's got a little spiel going. He wants people to know the truth about America and his travels into deep space. And I mean, who do you believe at this point? I mean, this guy is no Corey Good. I mean, he went all the way to trying to become president of the United States to let people know that this actually happened. And actually, it even says that it's happening today. It never stopped. Americans are still traveling through time and space. And he's adamant that there are tons and tons of evidence of life on Mars, including those mass burials. You can't write this stuff. I can't. The more I talk about this, and by the way, our super sapient of 2018, Ronnie Dawson, posted this article in the in the UBR Truth Seekers, and he shared it with us. So the link is in the description for you to look at and check this out, and let me know what you think. How many more people are going to have to come out to say that they've made multiple trips to Mars? Is this a real thing? Does anybody out there believe him? Anybody out there going to support him for 2020? It's right around the corner. So I'm sure he's going to kick up a campaign. Can't wait to see what that's like. Frankly, I never heard of the guy, but apparently he's got some good claims. Now, you start putting Mars into your hashtags, Andrew, and you might just catch some heat just because Elon Musk is moving Mars ready and moving forward. I just don't know if I could believe this story. I had to go do some research to see if this guy was really a candidate in 2016, and apparently he was. So, at least that part is true. We know he was a candidate for 2016, and he probably will be a candidate for 2020. But do you believe that this individual actually jumped to Mars? And then to look at what's at stake for him. I mean, the guy's an attorney. He's a lawyer. He's a litigation lawyer. Don't you think that if this was 4.24 bullshit, that he'd be giving up a lot? Is there possibly something in what he's saying that it's true? Does anything ring true when it comes to Mars? Anything at all? Many people have said that there was a civilization on Mars that blew itself to bits because of nuclear war. That there's evidence on Mars of an atomic explosion, a nuclear explosion. Or as they like to say locally, nuclear. Don't know what to say. I mean, it's hard to tell. I frankly find it hard to believe that he's made so many trips to Mars, but he didn't bring back any souvenirs. And neither did Corey Good. Did Corey Good bring back souvenirs from Mars? Did he bring like a little pebble or rock? Hell, even the fucking NASA astronauts that landed on the moon brought back some shit. You told me these rubber dickers didn't have the presence of mind to steal a rock or two? Makes no sense. I would have filled my shit with a bunch of Mars dirt. I would have taken one of them pareidolia bunnies that Scott C. Waring is overseeing. Put that in my backpack. Hell, there was mass cemeteries. I'd hate to say this, but bring back a finger or something. Jeez Louise. Give us something to look at. Nothing. We've got nothing. But yeah, he wants to be president of the United States. What the fuck is the world coming to? Strangely enough, I didn't have anything to say about the story, but the more I think about it, the angrier I get. If you're going to vote for this rubber dicker, let me know so I can block you. I can block you indefinitely. Because he's not going to win the next election. And he might just make an ass out of you and me. But, Andrew, if you have real evidence, bring it forward. Let's talk about it. I'd love to have you on here so that you can debate Corey Good as to what's really up there. You guys might just become really good friends and take a blue avian out for a spin. I don't know. I can't do it anymore. I'm done today. I got a case of the Mondays, and unfortunately, it appears that we will still have Andrew in the political race in the United States. So get ready for some good rubber dicking. If you like the podcast, aside from the craziness that sometimes I report, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like us, follow, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff because it's only going to get crazier as time goes on. This is Manny Moonraker. I'm checking out, and I hope you guys have a good week. And hopefully tomorrow I'll have some good pictures of the awards for the 2018 Rubber Dickies. And when I tell you, you're going to be shocked and amazed. I mean it. Ciao.